Welcome to Merschman Seeds Cup of Joe. On this episode, hear about the Merschman Advantage, what makes us unique, and why we think you should choose Merschman Seeds over the competition.
Hi, this is Joe Merschman. Welcome to Merschman Seeds Cup of Joe. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to, for us, it's the new year, the beginning of the selling season. So we're going to tell you why you should continue to plant Merschman seeds, and if you're not planting Merschman seeds, why you should. And I know that you have a lot of choices when it comes to selling seed, and you might ask yourself, why should we sell Merschman seeds? Well, speaking as president of MS Technologies, who are the originator of the Enlist E3 trait and genetics, I can tell you that we have a direct connection to access the entire breeding portfolio as part owner of MS Technologies. And that gives Ben, our product manager, and he'll talk about it firsthand, what he has available to him. So we have extremely good genetics, and it's based on 54 years of the same people doing the same thing, and they do it quite well. And that is Harry Stein and Bill Eby. Now, Merschman Seeds is not a breeding company. However, we are a distribution company. In other words, we focus after we take the very, very best genetics, and then we combine it with one of the best seed treatments that we can put on the market. And they'll be talking about this new seed treatment today. It's called Starting Line. If you look behind me, you can see the logo and the name. It's brand new for this year, and it's unbelievably better than anything we've ever had before. So we take best genetics, put a world-class seed treatment on it, and then we do a wonderful job cleaning the seed. In other words, we use color sorters, the whole bit. So we put out a very high quality product. And then distribute it by folks like you, which we think are crucial. In fact, if you go to dealer survey or farmer surveys, they'll say the dealer is the number one reason why they buy a particular brand of seed. So you're very critical in our process. We have a very strong sales force, and they spend a lot of time in training. As a general rule, about 30 days a year in training to give them the latest information. We have a very short connection between upper management and our salespeople. There's no in between. It goes right to them. So consequently, we're constantly updating them with the latest trends and information. And we have a lot of exciting things to share with you today. So when it comes to picking your soybean supplier, why would you not want to pick a company that is number one in genetics, number one in distribution and conditioning and quality? In fact, we even have a app now called Merschman Delivers that you can activate that will tell you exactly to the second when the truck's going to be there. In other words, you can see the truck coming down the road on the map. And you can say, well, he's 15 minutes away. I better get out to the warehouse, get the door opened up, get the forklift fired up because the truck's going to be here very shortly. So we recognize that your time is your limiting factor. And then, of course, any organization is no better than the people that are in it. And we have great people. And they're very motivated, they're very dedicated, and they're very knowledgeable. So we hope that when it comes to selling soybean seed this year, and other wheat products such as our wheat and even our alfalfa, as well as Stein corn, that you think about Merschman Seeds. Now, Ben, tell them from your perspective, what are the limitations you have in selecting soybean varieties out of the MS Tech portfolio?
There are absolutely no limitations when it comes to product selection. So we have hundreds upon hundreds of different options in each of the main maturity ranges. And what we basically do is we go for high yielding soybeans, and then we look for standability and disease tolerance, and that's the process. The only way that a product will leave the Merschman Seeds lineup is if there's a better product in that maturity range to take its place.
So the other thing too, Ben, is we explained the breeding process on page 4 and 5 of our seed guide this year. So it's a multi-year process. It literally never stops. In other words, when we stop in North America, we pick it up in South America. It's a very interesting process. And the other thing too that you do different than what I call the BS companies, the big seed companies, supply. What about supply?
Yep. One of the unique things that we do for supply is we make sure that we have at least a time and a half of what our projections are for what our sales are going to be. So when we do launches, we launch full launches without limitations. So we make sure we have plenty of product and we don't have substitution that way.
So no substitution. You're not going to see a substitution for Merschman Seeds unless we have a catastrophe. A catastrophe would be like a bin that germed well and then we recheck it and it dropped out of bed or something. But even if that happens, we let you know right away. We don't tell you when the truck backs up and says, oh, that product you wanted, we substitute another product. So we have a connection, and again, we have a world-class inventory management system and the easy order system. So we spent a lot of time and money on being the best at conditioning and distributing, and nobody has a better inventory management system than ours. We know sales and marketing, production, we all work together, we communicate back and forth, as opposed to the BS companies, the big seed companies. What they do is take their most popular product, sell it like they have an unlimited supply, and then substitute at the very end. We don't do that. So and then talk just a little bit about starting line seed treatment, just a little bit of highlights.
Yeah. So starting line seed treatment is a step change like we've never done before here. We have added additional biostimulants. We have added biological processes in the starting line, which is the standard base treatment. We have increased efficacy against sudden death from where our standard treatment was before, and outstanding tolerance to white mold. So.
And then with the new Pythium strains, what about that, Ben? Are we going to be able to handle that? In other words, we've been using apron type products, metalaxyl for years and years. In Iowa State and many universities say now we have different strains that metalaxyl apron type products are not effective against.
Correct. No, we have double layered protection between ethoboxam, or commonly known as Intego, before it went off patent, and the metalaxyl mixed together, so we can take care of resistant Pythium strains as well as the wild type normal ones that we are having control against with the ethoboxam. So we have multiple layers of efficacy worked into our plan, and really there's no holes in the seed treatment.
And the other product, the biostimulant, the Tripidity product, how that's uniquely different than anything that's out there?
Yep, so Tripidity is built up of three main components. You have your amino acids, your nutritional aspect, and hormones, and those are all put in at the correct ratio to make the soybean plant. It's basically all things that the soybean plant would need or produce on its own to get out of the ground in a stressful environment, and when we pack all of that stuff around the soybeans, we have faster, more even emergence every time.
Did you hear what he just said? Faster, more even emergence every time. And that is in print. It's not something we say, we can back it up. So that's pretty exciting. And the other thing too, I think it's unique about our starting line seed treatment is that it is a all-star combination. Now, compared to the BS companies, the big seed companies, what they typically do is, well, we can only use what's in our stable. We cannot go outside our stable. And by that I mean they have to use only products that their company developed, and that's the only thing they put on their seed. Where we don't care where it comes from. We take an independent approach because we're an independent seed company. We're not a chemical company, so we're not relying on just one brand of products to put on our seed. So think about that aspect of it.
Yep.
Well, Ben, you kept the best to last, right?
That's right.
Starting Line Plus. What is Starting Line Plus?
So where we had options in the past, last year, where if you wanted the additional of Saltro, you could get that. Starting Line Plus is Saltro plus a new product called Trunemco that is hit in the market. And Trunemco is the only two mode of action product for soybean cyst nematode. So really we almost have like three modes of action now when it comes to sudden death and soybean cyst nematode with the Saltro and the Trunemco added together. So both of those products are giving us multiple layers of protection. Both of those products are giving us nice suppression of sudden death and soybean cyst nematode.
Well, that's a critical, important piece of the puzzle. We know that Pythium's a big problem in fields. We know that nematodes are a big problem in field, and we know that sudden death's a big problem in field. So we have a seed treatment now that addresses all those issues, depending upon what layer of protection you want. So that's why I'm excited about 2023 and Merschman Seeds. Ben, I know that people can copy our seed treatment. They can go buy True Nemco and they can buy Saltro, and we like Saltro better than Olivo because of the less burn or halo effect. You know, anything you can do to eliminate stress on a plant gets higher yield. But well, why would they want to buy it from us? Well, if they can just go out and buy it direct.
Well, there's a unique component, because when we start working with biologicals and we have sporulated formulas out there, those spores, once they activate and germinate, they need food source. And one of the unique parts with the Starting Line Plus is the turpidity has a very high density food source for those biological products, and it is like a Kickstarter to make sure that those products have more consistency, because what we would know with the problem with biologicals is that they work really well in lab settings most of the time, but when we have different environments we lack consistency, and turpidity is going to be the cornerstone of keeping our biological offerings extremely consistent.
So if you're not putting turpidity in that mix with those biologicals, you're not going to see as much of a performance gain as you are with the whole package that we put together.
Yep.
Turk, I know when it comes to seed companies, there's average, they say 6 seed companies calling every farmer. So if you're a dealer or if you're a Merschman rep, you've got to show up different. Otherwise, it's the same pitch. I got the highest yielding stuff and we're the cheapest, right? So how do you try to train our salespeople? Because most of them are agronomists, which really gives them a heads up. How does that make them uniquely better than the other 5 seed companies that are calling up on them?
Well, as you started out, Joe, talking about the amount of training that we do with our salespeople, I would put our salespeople up against anybody in the industry, bar none. Our guys are up to speed on everything that's going on because of the shortness of the information flow. But our guys are the highest trained salespeople in the industry, and I highly encourage you to use them and utilize them and talk with them, and because they will definitely help you increase sales if you utilize them. And
it's not only the salespeople. You got a whole group of employees here at Merschman Seeds, from the order desk and from Ben and myself, and we're all behind you. So in other words, we are very focused on our customers. In other words, we are a farmer first mentality. So we're interested in yield, and we're interested in making sure that you're getting what you need to sell our seed. And so in conclusion, I know you have a lot of choices, but we think Merschman Seeds is the best choice. And if you're not already promoting our seed, we'd love to work with you. And those of you that are promoting our seed, we know who you are, and we sincerely appreciate it. Well, and now for the corny joke. This week, I'm going to spare you and only tell you one, okay? I'm going to try to be nice, What happened to the man who fell into the upholstery machine? What happened to the man who fell into the upholstery machine? Don't worry, he fully recovered. I think that's a fake laugh, Turk.
no.
But thanks for laughing. You always laugh at the boss's jokes, right? Anyhow, thanks for watching this week. We hope you and your family are safe and healthy. We'll see you next week.